Hey everybody, happy Monday. On our way out to good old Deep Rockwood to go and actually pick up a sign for a closing we got tomorrow, and then actually go look at some lots with a buyer potentially for some new construction. So a little bit of windshield time there. We got about typically, well, the time I do all this, about an hour drive till I get to the lots. And I want to get into this video that talks about short sales. And full disclaimer, as mentioned in the description, this is my first time ever doing a short sale. I think I've only ever even seen the term like probably less than 5 times ever, where somebody's like maybe reached out and said, "Hey, what's this?" And I don't even know, it might be less than 3 times ever in my real estate career, which got my license March of 2018. So a lot of people on here, I'm going to kind of explain what a short sale is, what I know about it. And again, I am no short sale expert. I know nothing. The agent on the other side has been awesome, for the most part, at least with answering my questions. It seems like they do this, somewhat often. Or at least have done it, so got a little bit more experience on it. But let me tell you kind of what a short sale is, and it really has to do with foreclosures. I'll get a call from somebody randomly, or a message, one time a month. Steven, if you know any foreclosures, let me buy something. I'm looking for foreclosures, try to get a deal. Like they seen a HGTV and a show or a movie, and they think that these deals and foreclosures out there exist. It's not true. Is not true at all. So let me kind of explain. Short sales were very popular. So you had the market crash in from 2008 to 2010, right? So, market crashed. And again, market crashed due to fraud. Let me repeat that. The market crashed due to fraud. Housing prices, everything was crazily inflated, everything, because they were giving money to people who should not have been given money, illegally, fraudulently. There was basically the rules and guidelines. They were just getting around them. So now that all these things and new stuff is in place, the fraud is at an extreme minimum. Is it out there? Sure, right? Fraud and everything. But it's a very extreme minimum amount of fraud. So therefore, you could easily argue, especially with COVID, they put even more, processes and systems and policies in place for financing with COVID. So you can argue the people who's bought houses since COVID are the most qualified home buyers in the history of home buying, with credit, income, and everything like that. So a short sale is really only, and it's why it's never been done in my careers, because it was very popular. Imagine like 2011, 12, 13, 14, maybe even 15 there a little bit. But by then it kind of went away. And in my real estate career, it's never been a thing. Because a short sale means you as a buyer, and I'm just going to use easy money, easy dollar terms, so it's easy to understand. You as a buyer buy a $100,000 house, and then, let's just say you lose your job. And you can't afford to pay your mortgage. And instead of foreclosing, which here's the thing about foreclosures, banks, credit unions, lenders do not want to foreclose. The person who is in charge of doing the foreclosure, all that does is create more work for them. They don't get commission. They don't get extra bonuses on the amount of foreclosures they do. All it does is create more work for them. So, human behavior. If you can do something and get paid the same, and then this scenario over here makes you do more work and you're still paid the same, which one are you going to do? You're going to take the one you do less work and still get paid the same. So think of that for banks, right? They do not want to foreclose on it. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a whole mess. It costs them money. It costs them time. And ultimately for them, is the big thing is time. They're willing to take a little bit less money in order to, get the money and move on. So, the short sale, just think if they bought it there, you lost a job, and let's just say you went a loan type as 100% financing, so you have no principal and you lost your job 3 months later, right? You have no room. By the time you pay agent fees, title fees, prepaid interest, and all this stuff, you are basically upside down. Well, let's just throw another wrinkle onto it. Let's just say that the market actually during that time, we had some kind of crazy event and the market actually went down 5%. So now your home is only worth 95, even though your loan's at 100. So the bank knows, all right, well, if we foreclose on this, And then we do all this mess, go through all this paperwork, take all this time, 150 days, you go through all this mess. By the time we sell it, and then again, same thing, pay all the thing, go through the eviction process. If the person doesn't want to get out, go through the court system. What if they do damage to the property on the way out? And now, because they're going to have a foreclosure on the record, maybe file for bankruptcy, all this stuff, right, that they don't want to risk, because they also know, again, they're going to lose money. Best case, they sell it for 95, they lose well, you think $5,000, but again, by the time you pay agent fees and title fees and all that other mess, they're losing lots of money. So it's actually in their interest to work with the homeowner to try and sell it and get as most money as possible instead of going through the foreclosure process. It's an easier process for them to go through. That's the gist of it, right? Is basically just think you are upside down in your mortgage. Again, especially by time. And this one, crazy. I don't understand what happened. Don't know how it happened. But at least on paper, the numbers that I could access per tax records, looks like these people are about $100,000 upside down. That doesn't make any sense for our market unless it was just some kind of crazy multiple offer situation and somebody just did something stupid. But anyways, so in the situation, so it is a regular purchase and sale. It's being sold by an agent. The sellers are the ones signing, but it still has to get bank approval, like third-party approvals. And to be honest, I don't know all the hands are in the pot on that side. I understand it's the bank, and then my understanding is this loan of the one I'm doing was the VA buyer, so 100% financing, so it does have to go and get approved by the VA. So that's it, right? You're upside down. It's still like a regular contract as far as my purposes and the buyer's purposes go, but there's an addendum called a short sale addendum on it. And in there, it's got kind of the fine print that I'm just going to make it really easy. That basically says at any point, if the bank says no, they don't want to do it, the bank can just pull the contract. That's wild to me. And so for us, when we first did it, we had our typical contingencies in place. Well, we don't want to move forward and do a lot of stuff until we know that the bank's going to approve it. So we were able, and again, this is where the agent's been great to deal with, we're able to do an amendment and say, hey, our contingencies timelines are not going to start until we know the bank is willing to move forward. Then at that point, great, we'll start it and we'll move forward and hope that everything goes smooth. That's it. I hate that. I'll be honest, like after doing this one, I don't know that I can reasonably tell a buyer, because it could take up to 45 days. And so it's hard for me to reasonably tell a buyer, hey, go under contract. It may take up to 45 days just to get the all clear, which means we're not closing until probably 60 to 70 days is when you're actually going to close from the time you went under contract, if it took all 45 days. Now, maybe it takes 1 day, 10 days, 20 days, I don't know, but they set up to 45 days to make the decision, and they can pull it any time. So let's walk through a scenario. I'm a buyer, or you're the buyer, and we put this offer in, it gets accepted. We're sitting there for the next 30 days. All these homes that you also may like are on and off the market, getting listed, but you're under contract, so you can't go and pursue them, which is kind of crazy. My buddy. Yeah, you're under contract. It's too funny to pass a buddy on the interstate there. You're under contract and you can't pursue those other homes. So you're missing out on all these other homes during that time. And the bank just may come back in 30 days and say, no, we're not going to do it. And then the contract's over. You get your earnest money back, but you just wasted 30 days on missing these other homes. So that's where I don't know that it's in the buyer's best interest to be able to put themselves in that situation. Now, maybe, and that's where my buyers, I educated them and I said, hey, we're rolling the dice here. Do you want to gamble? And let's hope they approve it. And from our understanding is this should be an approved situation, but they still could say no. So that's where we're at right now. And that's where if you ever see anything in a short sale, just know it's not a guaranteed thing. At least from what my limited experience is. Now, maybe if I had done, 50 of these and 49 of them all ended in an approval and only one, I'd be like, you know what? It's a home run. We'll get it approved. It's only. Come on. All right, here we go. We're back. But so, it's a larger chance to get approved. I don't know what the odds are. I have no clue. And I don't think there's going to be just a ton of agents around Knoxville, especially in the last 10 years that just are going to have all this short sale experience, because our market isn't really for that. And how this person got in this situation, I'll be honest. I'm a math person and I'm a numbers person, but I just don't understand how it was even possible to kind of do this. But anyways, that's what you have to consider as a buyer, and that's probably why when and if we ever get into a market where there becomes a decent amount of short sales, that's what I'll be educating my buyers. Is, hey, I don't think this is a good idea, because we could sit here and just waste 30 to 45 days and get a no, then you're back on the market and you just missed, 2 or 3 other 5 homes that listed in the last 30 days you'd have been very interested in, that you probably would have offered on and would have worked just the same. So that's the kind of gist of it. Once I'm hopefully this gets approved, hopefully we're able to close this, and I can do another video on what I've learned kind of throughout the contract and since it closed, if there's any more red tape or craziness. Because did a little research up front, and then got our contract and learned, even though we put in a addendum that the bank had 5 days to make a decision. I basically learned really quick that the bank don't give a shit about that 5-day timeline. Now we still have the right to walk away because they didn't do that. So there is another thing, right? We've protected ourselves doing a lot. Or in basically every way possible, we've protected ourselves, and just to get out if we ever needed to. But that the bank can, sorry, phone call. So yeah, that's what I've kind of learned about short sale. I wanted to share that with you all. Again, I'll let's just fingers crossed everything goes good. This one ends up closing, and I'll be able to share another video on the details. But yeah, if you ever had questions or short sale or anything like that, feel free to holler. I will become an expert on this, because I'm too much of a nerd to do something and not or have a weird feeling that I don't know what